All right, good evening, everyone. This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast where we come live from streaming from Mott Brent's library. If you're out there, hey, put something in the inbox and check out our sound, see what our sounds like. Hey, I might be able to do it right here to see how it sounds. All right, good. All right, so what we're going to do right now is put up a 5-minute timer, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right, good evening, everyone. Why do we always forget that? What do you mean we? This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast, where we come here and talk to you about things that we've done last week, the things that we're working on right now, which is getting our sound right. We are so close to having the perfect podcast. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns he and him. I'm also one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Drabil Bey. And also I'm an active and registered member of the Nation of Islam here in the city. So that's what's up. Today, what do I have on? I've got on kind of a green and gray sweater type shirt. I've got my brown rimmed glasses on. Clean shaved today. Got my, what would you call this? Kind of an African bracelet from Beaumaye. All right.
An African-inspired bracelet.
An African-inspired bracelet. That's right, Brother Shaheem Hampton. Find him on Facebook. Follow this brother wherever he goes. He has so many great bracelets and necklaces. Look him up. He's at the pop-up shops and other type of stops. So check him out. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. And this is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. And if you're listening to us, put something in the chat.
Let us up.
Yes, say what's up. That lets us know that the sound is good. It's hard to do that and play it back at the same time. But I think that I've introduced myself. Hey, if you could introduce yourself, and maybe I can check on our sound.
Oh, our sound's good, I check.
All right.
He's a good producer.
All right.
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, John of the System, better known as Spoken Truth. I am the treasurer of this wonderful organization, and I'm just happy to be here, happy to be alive, happy to be past another, Black History Month.
That's
officially
right.
started.
That's right.
Where is she at?
Hey, she's over there. She's over
As
there.
per Ruth and her guidelines,
right.
There's only like 2 weeks out of the year that we don't technically celebrate Black History Month, but she's got a whole calendar and stuff.
All right.
For those of you that might be listening on your way home or on Spotify or YouTube, put us on the auto playlist thing, your past
That's
shows,
right.
see what's going on in the city and everything. But for, again, those of you that might be listening and not actually watching our podcast, I'm a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and stones and bones. Sometimes you hear jingling when I'm on the news doing actual reporting work and
That's
stuff.
right.
I found out from my last thing, if you're watching the On the Move show on NBC 24,
Yeah.
you'll hear some that was me.
Okay. That's
But,
what's up.
Yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I am here because I said no. I got tired of the conformity and all that stuff, and I wanted to create my own world, my own imagination that can't be digitized or plagiarized or necessarily copied. You could follow or walk beside me, but there's a lot of my life, even 7 times I don't remember. Those were some interesting times in class,
Yeah.
but they shaped me to be this person who's very resilient. I do pause, mental health is real, but very resilient in what I want to see
That's right.
in the world. I think a lot of more people, I'm getting more people coming up to me, which is weird. I'm not famous. I'm not. I kind of am beginning to despise that word of being an influencer or famous and stuff, because you don't know what I had to go through for me to see you. You just know I am.
Okay.
So
All right.
I appreciate that, but I don't want you to mold any part of your life around the version of me that you see today.
Well, that's what's up. Hey, listen, what we're going to do right now is go get into our mission statement, which lets everyone know what we were about from day one. If you could read the mission statement, and then I'll come back and read the guiding principles. And after the guiding principles, if you could give us a Black Lives Matter moment from 2014 to now. One are some of the things that really stood out to you from the things that we've done.
Yeah. So again, for the people out there, if you're starting something new, got some resolutions going, you want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
We're not shock, drama, trauma podcast people, but we have consistency. And this is how you get that consistency. It's our mission statement, like that foundation you build your
Right.
walls upon. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014. The day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often, police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events to help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter. Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right, before we get into our guiding principles, if you could just tell us one or maybe a couple of your Black Lives Matter moments that really stood out to you, what would those be?
I think the beginning, before we were technically a group, there was an event that happened. An event that I actually quit my job to be at. Because I was told that this was dumb.
Yes.
And why are y'all marching? And what are you doing? You're not going to
Yes.
accomplish nothing.
That's right.
I see now in a lot of music and a lot of shows, 2020 was our civil rights revolution.
Right.
Nah, for me, it was 2014.
Okay.
There was a whole group of people. I forget it. I think it actually might have been a Michael Brown thing, but we were all just kind of not aimlessly, but marching. And we went from, I believe it was Bancroft by UT, yeah, and then we went all the way to the mall,
Franklin Park,
all the way back.
That's
and
right.
It was just a feeling, and I have some old video of that, but a freedom of not actually. I don't know these people. There's a guy with drums over here. There's a guy with a megaphone, but I feel somewhere I belong that I haven't felt in my job, or even at that time I was an emerging open mic host star, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was different.
Wow, that was awesome thing to be a part of, because it was a few people that were organizers within the organizers within the organizers. So everybody just set out to just let it be known that there's some things going on in society, and there were so many people that weren't willing to just have a blind eye, to that. So yeah, that was great. I don't know if I made it all the way to Franklin Park Mall for 100% transparency. I think that I may have stopped. I think I stopped at Secor in Monroe. And I think that my old legs and my old feet kind of either gave out, or I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to let Jody and everybody else, the young people, take it from there.
Yeah, we didn't even know each other.
I don't believe
it's kind of crazy.
CSRN. I don't believe we did.
We didn't know each other. It was just randomly we all came. Julian might have been one of the people in the drums, but I don't remember at that time.
Yeah. My Black Lives Matter moment was I think this was January, today is the 17th. I think it was January 17th, 2016, when we had interrupted or disrupted the Martin Luther King celebration at Savage Hall. Prior to that, I was on the planning committee that myself and a few others would meet every year and talk about how we were going to honor Dr. King. And it appeared that year after year, it became more about the police, more about the fire department, more about the Boy Scouts, and more about the University of Toledo and the city of Toledo. And there was just one small part that they talked about Dr. King only as a dreamer, only as a someone that advocated for, I'm trying to think, what is that word? Integration.
Yeah.
All right. And year after year, I would say, hey, look, we need to, push the envelope, just a bit. And, there were more sides to Dr. King than just, holding hands with white girls and black boys and dreaming. He had a whole skill set focusing on economics, all right, and the defense, the war contracts, or I'm trying to figure out what is the word for the military industrial complex, and he was banging hard on that. So year after year, they would say, "Well, no, we're not going to do it." So I'm like, okay. Sister Twyla Page had the idea that we should disrupt it. And I thought that it was a crazy idea. Then I thought for 2 more seconds, yeah, let's do it. So we gathered everyone, maybe 30. It's still on YouTube. Maybe we'll post it to our page.
Yeah, it's
we'll post it to our page. And I'm proud of everyone that took that chance of disrupting and decided that we were going to walk out between police chief at that time and Marcia Captor. There was a small space, and I was like, let's go. I was the first person.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to lead? I'm like, hey, it's on. All right. And last, before we get to our guiding principles, all of the calls that we received and I received from local leaders just seconds before we walked. It was like, hey, it's too late, we're doing it. So that was mine, in honor of Dr. King.
I still got video of that too.
In honor of Dr. King, who was much more than a dreamer for Black people. He was a freedom fighter, and he didn't die for what he believed. He was assassinated, and the United States government was found culpable for being a part of that. So and that's that. And maybe after the break, there's a really short piece that we put together for Dr. King right before 10/10/15, the 20-year anniversary of the Million Man March. So let's get on into the CSRN guiding principles. Hey, I like that. Okay, all right.
Good segue.
All right. All Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. What am I doing here? All right. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe.
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe.
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We must learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principal struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe?
Ashe.
Hey, listen, Jody, before we take a break, do you ever find yourself, because of some of the things that we've done, do you ever find yourself being noticed in public? Do people stop and talk to you, or what is that like being Jody?
Well, funny story, even as we do our setup and stuff like that, it happens. It's happening more, but I don't think it's necessarily. A lot of people are more of, hey, remember that thing you did like 5 years ago? I don't remember it, but I remember you. And then as we're talking, I'm trying to figure out like what the event was, or and a lot of people, I've gotten comfortable with telling people I don't remember you, but I appreciate you for remembering me, because I'm not doing any of this, whether it's the activism, the art, or the writing books, or the performing, to be somebody's idol. I'm doing it because it needs to come out. It needs to be heard. It needs to be said. I learned a lot of that from activism. So when people even see my artwork or see me on TV somewhere, I always go back to those protests, those standing with uncountable people who you may only get a glimpse of their sign, maybe not even their face, and being okay with your individuality.
That's what's up. All right. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the MLK experience. There were so many great things happening in the city, and so many people honoring Dr. King in their own way. And that's what's up too. And
if you got questions and stuff during our commercial break, leave them in the chat. We are live, so we're watching. Hey, talk to us.
All right. This is the CSRN, our weekend review. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
are back. I don't know what the tech, I think our tech team left a long time ago. Hey, we're back. This is the CSRN, our weekend review, our weekly podcast where we come to you live, talk about the things that we've done last week, some of the things that we're working on right now. I talked with the Toledo Kwanzaa House earlier today, and they've got some things going on. The Doug has some things going on for Black History Month. So we're going to try our best to post those things on our page and keep it moving. And listen, yesterday was MLK Day, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Were you a part of some of the things that were going on in the city, or how do you observe that day in your own way?
I was actually a part this year. I was in home, Toledo, which is so odd to say. Last year, I was in Chicago, being honored with the guy by giving an MLK Day performance and stuff. One of my personal favorite, one of the very first 5 pieces I ever memorized and wrote with Silent Face in the crowd. So this year, I was actually a part of the open mic night held Friday at Seals inside of Toll House, hosted by a good friend of mine and ours on the show and everything. Yeah, it's one of these photos up here. But Hunter Prey, he was the host, opening up the year with that, and then it was exceptional. I've been, I guess you could say, in the business a long time. So when I see these other poets and authors, I'm like, I remember your first book, or we remember our first book and how far we've come. Almost a decade is a long time to be doing the genre of art. By this time, most people want to do albums and stuff. Right. And then after work Monday, because for some reason we worked Monday, I went over to the art museum. They had a program going on, and I missed all of the program, but I didn't miss the reason for me going there. So I talked to a few people, met a few of the artists. And then I had a impromptu interview with the museum itself about the future of the art museum and the American culture wing they're setting up. And that was, had I been there on time, stuff like that, I would have never been able to do the interview, because the girl that was trying to interview people, nobody had time. They were there for this and that. And so, sometimes it's good to show up late. Other than that, I saw that there was a march. Frederick Douglass did a prayer breakfast or some type of breakfast. Shout out to Reggie and the Doug. And then UT did something with Wade. Wade.
I wanted to bring up the Kitchen for the Poor. Had an observation of Dr. King. I think they reopened the kitchen for anyone that wanted a hot meal. And I keep saying this, and for whatever reason, it hasn't happened yet. I wanted to be a part of that experience of volunteering for the Kitchen for the Poor. I think I try my best to be a part of a lot of things, in the city as much as I can, but that's something that I haven't done, that I want to put on my bucket list. It's right there, City Park in Nebraska area. You can't miss the Kitchen for the Poor, and it's been around for so long. So shout out to the Kitchen for the Poor and the Savage, family that has kept that going for so long. One of the ways that I celebrate Dr. King's birthday is what happened in 2015. 2015 was the 20-year anniversary of the Million Man March. And as a member of the Nation of Islam, and our love for Dr. King, and really our love for everyone that stands up for justice, however their model might be at that time. Those models may change, all right? Is what happened. We wanted to, when I say we, meaning the Nation of Islam, wanted to focus on the words of Dr. King, which was more than just the dreamer person that's been shown to us. That's like saying Brother Malcolm X was always angry. All right, there's more things to Brother Malcolm. There's more things than to Dr. King than our former slave master than the children show us. So one of the things that we were reflecting on was redistributing the pain, withholding our economic support for those businesses, for those corporations, for those entities that continue to mistreat us. And Dr. King was all about the boycott, was all about retooling our resources and using those resources for ourselves. So my whole day was just reflecting on that. And if you look at our community, economics is something that we need. We were just talking about Swain Field. Yes, there's so many things that we need at Swain Field, but it's a great chance that one of us has to step up and have some skin in the game, meaning some serious investment capital to make Swain Field be what it should be for us.
Yeah, just
Other
like
than
what is that, Bancroft and Franklin?
Right, but it's going to have to take some of us that are successful, that are able to invest. We know about us, but when we continue to allow those outside of our community build in our community, they're going to build for them.
Yeah.
And they should. They should build for them. So if you don't like Cracker Barrel, then you should have invested.
Yeah.
If you don't like Bed Bath and Beyond, right there on Bancroft and Franklin, well, we should have put some skin in the game. You know, we can't really expect for others to do for us what we should be doing.
If you don't want another Walmart or Hub or something like that, then do something.
Right. At the end of the game, some of us are going to have to put up some serious capital to be able to develop our own neighborhood. We can't continue to depend on Lucas County, the city of Toledo, or the state of Ohio.
Or grant or loan or anything like that.
It's not happening. It hasn't happened, you know, and it's not going to happen without us having a serious investment in it, to be serious shareholders, you know, outside of you and I showing up with picket signs, all right? And that's only going to go so far.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, whoever has the most capital in this project is going to make the calls. And most times we don't have that much financial capital, you know, involved. So I love Dr. King. I love the way that he grew. I love that he grew past what we call nonviolent protests. I love that he grew past what we call civil rights. I love that he grew to be a humanitarian, humanitarian. And if that's what it takes for us to move to that mountaintop that he talked about, then economics has to be a serious part of the discussion outside of that political part. And anybody can go on YouTube right now and listen to Dr. King talk about, hey, listen, we did the civil rights thing. However, we did the political thing. However, we see that it hasn't changed our community.
Yes.
All right. We've had Bill Clinton. We've had Barack Obama. We've had Joe Biden. And Oakwood and Smead. It still looks the same. It still looks the exact same.
And a friend of mine, because again, poetry and expression, art and stuff, you get to see your cons work different. Stop dreaming. I think a lot of it, the reason why they push that so much is because they want you to keep dreaming. They don't want you to start building on your reality and not just manifesting it, but putting the work in. Dream as big as you possibly can, but eventually, and I hate using the word wake or woke, but eventually you gotta wake up and put some scabs on your hands, get some callus on your feet, take and kiss the ground and love it that you're there for the moment, but not forever.
That's right. Hey, listen, what I want to do, one of the things I forgot to do is give our Nguzo Saba word of the day. The Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles, are the 7 principles attached to Kwanzaa, but Kwanzaa is 24/7, 365. And our word for the today is Ujima. That's collective work and responsibility, and that means to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. So what I want to do, I'm going to play this short clip of Dr. King that the Nation of Islam had produced for Justice or Else. And then after that, we'll come back, maybe take a short break, and if we've got some loose ends we need to tighten up by then, do what we need to do. Sure. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us every week. CSRN will always be a part of our community, and we'll always report out on what's happening in our community and how you can be involved. Hey, let's put this up on the screen. All right, family, it appears, I think we may be having some technical difficulty. Let's see if we can bring it.
Some slight technical difficulties.
Let's see if we can bring that up.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
try it again.
Try it again. Let's see. How did that go?
Like I was saying, sometimes you have to kiss the ground and thank you for the mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a learning process. I think, again, I like this versus even when I'm on national TV and stuff like that, because no offense to 24, but I watched our show, and the show was on side to side, and you can see some stuff like music starting while the host is talking.
Oh, absolutely.
After the host, but that's on-job experience. So we're getting a wealth of information that people go to school and everything for just by doing it live, by letting you see our mistakes. We're not perfect, we're human. So you see our figuring it out.
Hey, and right now, family, we are figuring it out. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take a short break. We're gonna come back, and hopefully we get that clip. But hey, listen, it's nothing better if we've got a clip. We really love what our sister Avis Files is doing with Brothers United. I think it's Brothers and Sisters United.
Yes, it's Brothers and Sisters United.
Great job. And hey, let's run that clip, and we'll be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. This program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just need help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3. BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change, if you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So this showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
And shout out to Brothers United, man.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN Weekend Review. And as I said, we talked about the things that we've done last week, things that we're working on right now, and some of the things that we've got coming up in the future. One of the things that we're talking about today is the impact that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King has and still has on Black life, and which is huge. And we wanted to show a short clip of a video that was produced at that time of 10/10/15.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see if we can get it up on the screen. Hopefully, yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare.
Yep. We got captions.
Awesome.
Oh, we muted.
No, we are not.
Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years
That is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who.
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. It was freedom and famine at the same time.
and create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
That is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that's how I remember him. All right, that's how I remember him, for someone that pushed back on the military-industrial system. They pushed back on those who wanted us to spend with them without it being reciprocal. Right. You know, and speaking truth to power, that's who Dr. King, you know, that's what he means to me and what he continues to mean, you know, to me. So for you, Jody, as we wrap up, lots of things going on in the city that we want everybody to know about and be a part of. And lastly, to be familiar with those who are on city council. Yeah. And it was great to have our brother, John Hobbs III, who we scheduled today, but unfortunately, we're going to try to reschedule our brother to come back, reschedule for Bernice, Sister Bernice, who were appointed back, all right? and also some of the others that are on, on city council. Make sure we check in.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to come down. I mean, y'all know I see you in the office eventually, all that good stuff. So as I say, we are at this point an open show.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, we have our foundation. We have the stuff that, I'm sorry, you're going to see that. We're not taking it down because you're coming on the show. But this is a open show where you can talk about anything, where you're not just getting buzz clips. We don't edit anything down. We're not trying to ask you shot questions. I feel that most of our guests, if they're in the comments and stuff, you can comment, but feel good when they leave the show. They feel a sigh of relief and not pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, listen, for you, any events that you know of that are happening so that maybe we can get some of our, we can get out to.
And then I'm going to go through a couple of them. Again, I focus on local stuff. There's national stuff, but I don't watch TV. I don't listen to radio. I go to events or do events because I'm a part of it. Vacations and just going somewhere and sitting down and shutting off my brain, that doesn't happen for me. Unfortunately, that's like, yeah. So here's some things that's going on locally. If you're in the Toledo, Ohio or surrounding area and you can make it, I hope you do. Artists, we love and appreciation and stuff like that. So this Thursday at 8 p.m. there's an open mic. For those of you that are looking for an open mic, it's hosted by my friend D. That's coming down further in the list too. Some other events are coming up. But it's third Thursday open mic. I know she started this, I believe it was last month, or right at the last month to end the year and everything. So if you want to go out to Delaney's Lounge in Toledo, Ohio, I believe that's Toledo, Ohio. I'm about to click on it right now. Yeah, Delaney's Lounge, Toledo, Ohio, and go out there. She got an open mic from 8 p.m. until 11. She is a very gracious host, so it's not probably going to be a censored show or anything like that. So if you got something to say, that is going to be a great time to do it. This Sunday at 1 p.m., another friend of mine, Cece, she's doing a spreading love brunch, celebration, and sharing at the Saginaw Branch.
Okay.
So that's going to be at the library starting at 1 p.m. Also, this Sunday at 1 p.m., there is the 419 for Hope Anti-Suicide Benefit.
Okay.
Hosted by D. I'm also going to be there performing. I'll have my table, so if anybody wants to pick up a shameless plug of the Childhood Traumas book or any of my other previous books or artwork on the subject, you're more than welcome to. There are a whole bunch of artists. You'll be seeing it on my reels here tomorrow, because today I've shared enough to where I don't use boosted poster advertising. So you kind of got a threshold of what you can share and what you can't. Oh, there's my hand. What you can share and what you can't before they're like, hey, you banned for 30 days. I can't afford that. So, I have to be careful, but it's going to be at the Ye Old Cock and Bull, Toledo, Ohio. On Huron Street, if you ever been down there, it's right across from the stadium. Paco's, another job, is off the corner of that. So 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., 419 for Hope Anti-Suicide Benefit. We'd love to see you there. Also, Sunday is a very busy day, but this Sunday, another friend of mine.
Okay, you got a lot of friends. Well, go ahead.
But Yvette Rise, I think I'm saying that right. She's doing an anthology and 40th birthday celebration. That is going to be at the Jose Martinez Memorial Gallery, which is located at 1224 Broadway Street, Toledo, Ohio. She's a wonderful artist. I have some of her artworks. Go check her out. It's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hopefully you can make it there. Let's see. Next week, I think I'll save some of that for that, but just 2 events, because art, aside from poetry and everything else that you see and feel, is a very hard thing to get people to, I want you to stare at this thing that I made and feel something from it. So Here's to sharing at some things and feeling something from it by
Okay, all right.
James Dickerson. You might know him as Dirty Kicks. He's having an open house reception at the River House Arts, which is 425 Jefferson. There's a whole bunch of stuff in that building, but it used to be the old Toledo School for the Arts. There is the Enchanted Mystic Arts. Arts Intuition is a long name, but
all right.
That's there. That is from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. next Saturday. If you can make it out, I'm sure he would appreciate you. You might even get one of his black and white pictures.
Okay.
He does a whole bunch of stuff. He's also with the library and everything like that. And I'll save all the other stuff for next week. But I gotta say, I mean, they're my friends, so I'm doing the best I can because I can't see people because I'm always working and stuff. But also Saturday at 5 p.m. and I will be at both galleries, just to let you know. Same clone over there. But is the Midwest and Beyond, a street art and cultural exhibit hosted by the River East Gallery. Now that is Chris Rodriguez or Chili Rodriguez, Contron, and I never forget the name of the other guy. But it's going to be a whole bunch of other artists. I've been to just about every single art gallery showcase. If you go on his page, you can see him designing the graffiti work now in person. So just a couple of events to be aware of. There's probably others, but also, you know, we got a podcast. Reach out to me, Brother Washington. You see the commercials.
Right.
You see the commercials.
And also, if we could, for those events that you just said, can we post those to our page?
I can post them to our page.
And we also have the CSRN private. It's really not private, but that was our first. I think that was our first page.
Yeah, it was our very first event into groups. Groups were different back then. Groups, I don't know what they're doing with them now.
Right. So if we could post it then, because I want to make sure that we reconnect with Sabrina.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We need to reconnect with Sabrina. She used to make us look smart. So now we out here. All right,
Sabrina and Anika and it's a lot of people.
Yeah, let's just say a lot of people
in our
before we start messing up names. Hey, listen, before we close out with 5 minutes of heat, I really wanted to just list some of the things that I really want people to consider. Our YouTube page. I don't know if we're up to 100 yet, but we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. If you like what we do, subscribe to our page, like it, comment, let us know what you think about it, and share. That's how we get this word out beyond the picket signs. And lastly, if you like what we do, you can support us or by connecting with us on Instagram, Facebook. Thanks, Ruth, for keeping us on Spotify, uploading this so that you can listen to the podcast while you drive. Once again, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. If you want to support us, you can support us via Cash App. That's hashtag 419, hashtag CSRN. Well, it's right there on the screen. Hashtag CSRN 419 or PayPal CSRN 419. We do have our Black Lives Matter signs in. We do have our defund the police signs in. So if you want one, inboxes, go on our website, csrn.com, click in, get your sign. One of us will deliver it. And let's see, I think that pretty much covers everything that we said we wanted to do tonight. Oh, family, also, coming up in February, the Nation of Islam has its annual convention. It's called Savior's Day. It's like the strongest state of Black America and Black world thing that you could ever go to. Try your best to be with us in Chicago. If you can't make it in Chicago, we're going to be streaming live via webcast on that day. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is, I think, 88 years old. All right. And we don't keep our leaders long.
Yeah.
All right. They normally kill them at 30. When they're 30. All right. I think Brother Malcolm was assassinated in his 30s. Dr. King was assassinated in his 30s because of the impact that young people could make and the impact on older, wiser leaders make a tremendous impact. So that Savior's Day, the War of Armageddon has begun, family. So if you can make it out to Chicago, the Wind Trust Arena, I'm going to be there. I already got my ticket, Jody. But we're also going to leave some people back here in Toledo where you can come to Muhammad's Mosque number 91 and watch it via webcast, or you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. All right, and another shout out to our sister Haley Shears from Pretty Protection. We had our sister on last week to talk about protecting yourself and staying ready. And lastly, today we had our first meeting for the Toledo Kwanzaa House since the transition of our brother Kawapi, who is now an ancestor. He's been upgraded to being an ancestor now. So during our libation, we will say Ashe when we mention our brother Kawapi's name. And so big shout out to the Toledo Kwanzaa House for making sure that this brother had a proclamation and recognition from the city of Toledo that he is a master drummer for Kwanzaa in the city of Toledo and will always be a master drummer emeritus for the Toledo Kwanzaa House. Jody, I think that's all I have for today. Be it the will of the universe. Next week we should have some really great guests to come out.
Yeah. This is us, Organic Grill. Eventually we will get back to in-person meetings and stuff like that, and then go back to the average video minutes.
Eventually. Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
If you have something to say in the city, if you have a project or something you got going on, contact us.
That's right.
We are hey, you got to pay us to do this. Even the commercials that you see, which are excellent quality, just let us know. We the people, all that good stuff, that is the essence of everything we do. We don't charge people to have you come on the show or even to put your commercial in. We take donations, but that has never been a requirement for us to exist.
All right.
So in honor of Dr. King, I actually have a poem that I am going to be reading today. Last year, as we got a flag raising coming up, just a couple weeks here. So last year we were invited a couple times to One Government Center. Surprising me. Yeah. But one of the pieces that I read was before, shameless plug again, this book was actually published as I was working out the minutia of organizing what pieces would be in this book. And I got to read this in council chambers.
Okay.
And this year they go get some different heat.
All right.
But this is a piece called Trust Us. So let's begin. Peace. When you are too sick to fight, too scared to run, and misinformed to the point where you don't trust anyone, they will come for you. They will come for your ability to travel. They will come for your ability to feed your family. They will come for your ability to shelter your family. They will come for your ability to educate your family. They will come for your ability to provide for your family. When you are too sick to fight, too scared to run, and misinformed to the point where you don't trust anyone, we will incentivize you. We will use your religious beliefs against you. We will offer you freedom. We will confuse you with choice. We will give you everything that delays you from independent thought. When you are too sick to fight, too scared to run, and misinformed to the point where you don't trust anyone. You will do anything, yes, anything we tell you to. You will march, protest, and divide yourselves amongst your strength. You will fight over everything we tell you to. You will do the ostracizing and identifying for us. You will obey. You will not question. When you are too sick to fight, too scared to run, and misinformed to the point where you don't trust anyone, give us everything we ask for. Give us your identity to sell to our designer products. Give us more time than you have to spend with your family or yourself. Give us your fear, hate, love, dreams, and we will create a lifestyle you will never want to leave. Give us your pain, sorrow, anguish, loneliness, and nightmare-filled tears so we can create a world where you're the victim, yes, the victim in every scenario. Give us your hope when you are too sick to fight, too scared to run, and misinformed to the point where you don't trust anyone. Trust us, and we will give you everything we feel you deserve. They will come for you. And as long as you trust us, giving us everything we ask for, we will offer you anything you want. In peace.
All right, and as always, we snap our fingers. And what we have right there, that is the book. Do we have that on the...
I think we might. I don't know. For me, being an author, it will be in the library or submitted to the library at the end of this month, depending on how long they take them with the stuff. So within the next couple of months, hopefully by Black History Month, maybe, you'll be able to check it out at the library for free.
And I think this is the book right here.
Yep, you can find it on Amazon. The Kindle unlimited version and all that stuff is free. I got to do another round of discounts, but again, I'll be there at the 419 Suicide Benefit in Toledo, Ohio at EO Cock and Bull. So if you want to get your hardcover, your paperback, any other of my previous books, some artwork, yeah, hit me up. I also do ship and stuff, but I'm not so much on that. I want to sign stuff, even my hats. I autograph my hats and my clothing because you didn't just buy this as a consumer. You met somebody who poured their soul out into what they created.
All right. And as always, all lives can't matter until...
Black lives matter.
And Black lives can't matter until...
All Black lives matter.
Justice or